another one. Popping gear sucks because the lures are so expensive, but they look so cool.
Yeah.
And when they have teeth marks in them, they look even cooler. So you just want to buy more. That's us. There we go, that might be better. Alright guys, welcome back to another episode. We've been chasing some Spanish mackerel, throwing stickies, popping gear, good fun. So I've got a fair bit of footage, some cool fishing and that sort of stuff, but what I thought I might do is sort of mix it in with a bit of a how-to and things I look for when chasing Spanish. There's quite a few out there and I know it's a popular thing on the coast at the moment, so I might sort of give a few people some information or point them in the right direction to sort of find those fish that they're looking for. So I'll roll a few clips through this and then I'll sort of jump in and out and just sort of fill people in on what we're looking for. It is quite hard when you're fishing with a mate to talk to the camera and try and fill people in on what you're doing while you're doing it, because half the time you start to talk and the person you're with goes, "What were you saying?" And you go, "No, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the camera," and it gets all mixed up. But anyway, yeah, I'll throw some info in here and hopefully it sort of tells you what we're looking for and tells you what we're doing and you can get out there and catch some Spanish. Awesome. So where do I go from here? What's this dude doing? Coming down to throw something in the bin. Yeah. I had some notes written down. What have I got here? Yeah, so we started off, shot out off Mooloolaba. We've been to a couple of different places in the last couple of days. The biggest thing was trying to find clean water. So we've had a lot of rain here, Sunshine Coast, southeast Queensland. So the rivers are quite dirty and they're pumping a lot of that fresh out into the ocean. So we did a bit of cruising around. We'd run up to a spot last week where we found some really nice water, missed the big Spanish on top water. But we ended up with a stack of rain coming in off the ocean that day, so we had to bail pretty early. So we shot up there on, what was that, Thursday morning. This session, all the footage you'll see is from Friday morning, but we shot up there on Thursday morning and the water was dirty. So we don't know how that water had moved around so much. It's not really close to any river mouths, but that water had managed to push with tide and current and whatever. So we got up there, found out it was no good, so boosted out a little bit wider. And we found some really deep blue water. So got a Spanish on the Thursday morning. Decided we'd go back out Friday and cast around then, and that's what this footage is from. So when I say clean water, what we're looking for is like either a really clear green, still not perfect, but you can catch fish in it, or that proper deep blue, like deep ocean blue. So just try and get this camera to stop wobbling. Yeah, like a deep ocean blue. So we found that, we caught fish. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, different types of water. So when we get out of a morning, I'll generally have a lure in mind that I want to throw. You normally want to try and catch them on top water like you do with anything fishing wise. You go out and first thing you want to do is throw surface, catch a fish on surface, and then you sort of move to subsurface from there. I'll do this most times I go out. If you've got dead calm water, it's perfect. You can go there and you can throw most things, most lures, big top waters and that sort of stuff for this Spanish fishing, or it's a lot of them are just GT lures. But a lot of them, top water wise, require like really calm water because of the action of lures. When you sweep them, they'll catch water on the face and dive and create a bubble trail and that sort of stuff. So when you're a little bit of chop like we had, you sort of go through a few lures to see what will work on the day and what won't. And that's what I did first up. I started with a FCL CSP, so I'll throw a bit of footage in this as I'm talking, but yeah, started off with an FCL CSP, then went to an FCL popper, and then ended up back at Old Faithful, which is that bloke there, an ASWB slow sink 80 that's been chewed to within an inch of its life. So I rolled through those lures just to see what would work and what would actually hold water and that sort of stuff when you were popping it, and it just wasn't really ideal. They'd sort of blow out of the water and that sort of stuff when you'd sweep them, so I ended up going to subsurface pretty quickly. What else we got on here that I wanted to talk about? That's pretty much it for different water. So yeah, like I say, you just go out, sort of get an idea on what the surface is looking like. If it is dead calm, then you can start with top water straight away. If it's a little bit lumpy like it was, throw them around. If you can get them to stick and get them to pop well, use it, because it's an awesome way to catch them. But if it's not, you're better off just going to a subsurface lure pretty quick, just a slow sinking stick bait, and you can work it around. Yeah. What have we got? Oh yeah, so technique wise, what we're doing is launching a big long cast. So the reason we use popping gear for this sort of stuff, you obviously don't need it for the Spanish. You can do it on like 5,000 spin tackle. I've caught plenty of mackerel on that, like Spanish, both casting stickies and slugs and that sort of stuff. And that's only a 5,000 size reel, 15 to 50 pound rod. Easily doable, easily knock those fish over. But when you are throwing those big lures and trying to work them, a popping rod is the way to go, to a stickbait rod. So yeah, you don't necessarily need an 8,000 Stella with 80 pound braid and 130 pound leader, but when you're throwing those big lures, if you were to get runner wrap or anything like that, it's pretty easy to pop a lure off and they're expensive. So that's why we do that. And then if you do hook a good fish, it's easy to get it past the sharks. You can move them pretty fast. But yeah, what we're doing is a massive long cast, so trying to launch them as far as you can. Those big lures, that big rod does help. And then it's just a sweeping action. So I'll throw some footage in here of how we're sort of sweeping the lures. It's just a sweep, wind up your slack, sweep, wind up your slack, sweep, wind up your slack, the whole way back to the boat. If you see that there's fish, you'll often see Spanish sort of launching, getting airborne and that sort of stuff. If you see a bit of that, launch a lure and burn it. Crank it back in, you'll get those fish that'll come up and fly out of the water. It's pretty cool to see. We actually had one eat like that today, which was cool. He didn't launch fully out of the water, but he came out, which was epic. Yeah, and just sweep around. So sort of trying to go through in my head what information I want to share and like how I want to portray it, but yeah, I'll just keep going. Yeah, so just cast and sweep, cast and sweep. The longer the cast, the better, obviously. The more ground you can cover, the more chance you got of putting it in front of an active fish, or that fish may be coming up and following it. They might duck away and then he might come back again. You see a lot of troll cam footage of fish that'll follow a lure for a long time, then they dip away and then they'll come back and they'll dip away. What is this thing? Moped. Yeah, dip away and come back. The beauty of the stick baits is you're working quite erratically, so when you sweep in, the lure really ducks and dives, and that's what tends to fire the fish up. You'll find that you'll sweep it, start to wind up slack. As soon as you start to sweep it again, that's quite often when they jam it. So I think it's that quick erratic action that you don't get trolling lures and that sort of stuff. Like when you're trolling the lures, just constantly doing one thing, you're swimming along, whereas with the sticky, it's sort of ducking and weaving and stopping and ducking and weaving and stopping. That's what tends to fire them up, I've found. Yep. Yes, bro. Good shit. Yeah, doggy. Doggy. Work, bro. Where the gaff at? There. Oh. Work, bros. Chill. Nice, bro. Get him up there.
Not being enough.
Oh yeah, nice fish. Don't lift his head out of the water, that's all. Just get him close and I'll have a swing. Just let you steer him around from here. Oh, spinning. Yeah!
You boy!
Dangos on stickies.
Fucking nailed that.
Fuck, good work, bro. That's sick. Yeah, alright. You want to grab that fish bag out, put some ice in it? Yep. because we might just keep casting while they're here.
Chill, boy.
Mate, that's 2 from 2 good gaff shots for the boys.
Yeah, fine. Shot fucking right in the gills. Deal with the multi.
Oh, sketchy.
Atta boy.
Good. Goody. Yeah. Spot on, Bevan. Or just bleed him. Nice, bro. Sick.
Fuck, I was looking the other way, eh? I didn't even see the shot.
I'll bleed. Alright. I'll bleed him and keep casting. Just keep casting, bro, while we're here. Just like.
I can, if you want to keep on casting, but cut him.
It'll be right. I've pretty well bled him with the gaff. Alright. Sick.
Well, it works.
It works. What's that?
You got the fucking gun. You went to the fucking head too.
What's that?
You got the front treble.
Yeah. Big T-bone. What else we got on here? Different lures for different water. Yep. I'll film some stuff on my phone of like the different lures and that sort of stuff I throw around. But like I said before, CSP FCLs are good. A couple of CSP poppers. Obviously that ASWB is a massive favourite. Diving stick baits. So I'll just chuck some footage in of each of these and what they look like. But yeah, they all work. Obviously, all depending on the water. But it's just find something you think's cool. A confidence bait goes a long way. So like that thing has been absolutely minced. It's been to the reef and been chomped by GTs. I've got that many Spanish on it locally. It's a killer. It's so punctured and looks like it's been attacked by a pair of scissors. Yeah. What we got? I suppose the next thing is ground, like what you're actually looking for. So I spoke about water, so you're really looking for that clean water. You're not going to catch them in the dirty stuff. A little bit of clear green is okay, but obviously chasing that really nice blue water. Current's a big thing. So we're on smaller tides at the moment. I have been on smaller tides when we were catching these fish, but it didn't really seem to make that much difference as long as we were in a period of run. So you don't want to be there on a high or a low tide because you've got no current. But when you're in between those tides, like in between those phases, then you've got a little bit of movement and fish will sort of congregate in certain areas. You can obviously, they're pelagic, so they will move around like feet up near the surface, but I've found that if you try and target them on pressure edges, that's generally where you're going to find those active fish. So I'll go through and pull up some stuff on Navionics and sort of give you a couple of ideas on what I'm talking about when I'm saying pressure edges and that sort of thing. But it's basically sections of water where you'll come off like an inshore reef. So you might come from like 20 meters down into 25 or 22 down into 30 in a short period of time. So the bottom will be sort of like, you'll have a little bit of reefy rocky stuff and then it tapers away as you come down onto that back to sort of sandy gravelly bottom, whatever you're fishing. But what will happen is you get that edge that drops away, and then when you've got current that hits that, it creates a bit of an upwelling, and we don't really get enough current here on the coast to see that upwelling on the surface like you do when you're up north and sort of fishing the reef and that sort of thing. But it's definitely enough to move current and sort of put fish into particular areas. So I'll roll a bit of footage on how that actually worked for us today, but that's a big thing to look at. It can be hard to tell when you get out there which way the current's moving, so sometimes you can get out there and you might just have to sit and do a drift, or you might go past a marker or something like that, or a blinker that's got current pushing a certain direction, and you can look at it and go, all right, it's going north-south, or it's going like from south to north, whatever. but you can then sort of start to look at your maps and decide which way that current might be pushing and which one might be the pressure edge. So if you've got a section of reef that's obviously got, oh, there's bust ups. If you've got a section of reef that's got obviously a shelf on the top and the bottom side, if the current's coming from the south, you don't particularly want to be fishing that northern edge because the current's going to be dipping over it like that and not doing a lot. Whereas if it's going to be hitting the bottom edge, so hitting the southern edge with a current going south-north, it's going to be pushing water up, and that's where you're going to find those fish. Like I say, they do spread out, they are pelagic, but they are predatory as well, so something that can sort of congregate bait and get them there does make a big difference. Is this water blue or green? Because if you look at the prop, it kind of looks green.
It sort of does look green.
Maybe we go that way a little bit. Not by much, but I think that sort of happened last time. We sort of started in a little bit green water, and as we drifted out where you got that fish, it started to blue up.
Yeah. And honestly, I think they're sitting like right on the line.
Yeah, I don't think they're far off it. Yeah, like you look at the prop wash, it's just like, it's not dirty, but it's still not blue. Not like that crazy blue we had yesterday. Just rip a couple of casts in front. We're just on the edge of that drop off where it comes from like 22 into 30. Oh, yep. How's the call? Oh no, I dropped him. Fuck. Oh, he's back again. That's another one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, bruh. What? Zuzzing. That was a second fish, bro. I dropped that first one. That one ate it as I was cranking it.
Oh, that was a big one, that one.
That was sick. Do you like that call, mate?
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Just stop and have a cast there on the front of that edge.
Go, son.
That's a better one, bro. Oh, he's still good, bro.
Do you want to gap him or you want to?
Oh, up to you, bro. See how he's hooked.
Got it right.
Yeah. He's actually got a big go about him, this fella. That was a sick eat. Do you want to tail him? Got him? Yeah, doggy. Well, that was cool.
Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got both trebles in his
Yeah.
mouth anyway.
I might just get you to just run the goey over him quickly. I'll hold him with that sticky in him.
Yeah. Is it on? Yeah. Oh, he's got his treble out now.
There we go. I just said to Curtis, you should be able to hear it all. We just come off the back of a ledge and I said, just throw a cast in there, bro. There might be a fish. And one ate it. I missed him, cranked it, and this thing flew out of the water. So that's sick. How good? That's so awkward when people walk past when you're filming and talking to yourself. So awkward. It's bad enough I'm over here shoveling sand and I look like a weirdo, but then you get someone walking with dogs and you just look like a fool. We've got ground current water, yep. Yeah, so like I say, I'll throw some map footage in, like I'll just screen record it on my phone and give you an idea on what I mean of that. But it's worthwhile. Like most people, I don't know anyone that doesn't have a sounder in their boat now, but most people that have a sounder GPS combo, especially if you're going offshore, you can have a look on that. Normally you've got a map card in it that'll show some sort of contours. Otherwise, the Navionics app you can get on your phone's great for it. Or you can sit at home on your phone or an iPad and sort of have a look around and find areas that might be good to go out and look at. What else did I want to talk about? I suppose I should probably cover tackle. So yeah, like I said before, more than doable on lighter stuff, 5,000 spin outfits, even 4,000 spin outfits. The biggest thing is being able to throw those big lures. So I'll have a look. I don't have the specs on this. I know it's a slow sink 80. I don't have the specs on it of like weight and size and that sort of stuff, but I'll find it and I'll chuck it on the screen. But we're throwing them on. I've got it on a P6 Shimano grappler, 8,000 Stella with P6 Varavas casting, so that's about 80-pound braid, through to 130-pound, what is it? Black Magic, I want to say supple. I don't think it's fluoro, I'm pretty sure it's mono. I'll check it and I'll adjust that on the screen if I need to. And what we do there is we run an NT swivel to a big split ring, and then you just attach that to leader. So easiest thing you can do then is just split ring that off. So split ring pliers, take it off, and you're just chopping and changing lures. So, or you're not cutting knots and making that leader shorter and shorter and shorter every time. You're just changing your lure out with that thing. If anything, it's probably not a bad bit of insurance too, instead of tying straight to the lure, where if you get a fish that eats its head and you got nasty teeth real close to that, they can snip you. It's just that little bit of extra insurance, a little bit of gap between the hooks and nasty scissor teeth and your leader. Like 130 is pretty thick, but Spanish, you got savage teeth, so they'll go through a lot. Yeah, that's what I was running gear wise. Curtis was throwing a 20,000 Stella, I think about 80-pound braid too, and he was on a 2 to 4 pound Zeekel casting rod, so it's probably a bit light for what we're doing with those heavier lures. There we go, look like a dick again. Yeah, so it's probably a little bit light rod wise for those heavier lures, but worked for him, did the job. He was throwing I think they're a 130 SCAD in the ASWB as well, and that's what he caught his fish on. So I don't really know that there's too much left I've got to cover. I think the footage sort of covers the rest of it, what we're doing, how we're working lures and that sort of stuff. Obviously, big thing to note coming up is Spanish closure again, so I think that's 1st of February. I got pulled up by fisheries at the ramp the other day. They were pretty good about it, but just had a chat and went, do you know when closed season is? I went, no, but I know it's not now. 1st of Feb. And the change to limits for Spanish mackerel. So 1 per person, or a boat limit of 2 for obviously 2 or more people in the boat. So if it's just you're out there by yourself, you can keep 1 fish. If there's 2 of you, you can keep 2, so 1 each. If there's 4 of you in the boat, you can still only keep 2. It's a boat limit maximum of 2. That's here in Queensland anyway. Yeah, I think that's about it. Obviously these things will translate to, like these techniques and sort of where you find fish and that sort of stuff will translate to trolling for them as well. If you're out there and you want to troll hard bodies or liveys or whatever, look for the same sort of stuff, those pressure edges and that sort of thing. If you're trolling around those areas, you'll definitely find fish. Just casting stickies is a way more fun way to catch them. It's all well and good to go out there and just get them for a feed, but yeah, it's so exciting casting lures for them and having them come up and absolutely smoke a sticky. You really don't get it. Too much better sports fishing wise on the Sunshine Coast than that. Yeah, well, hopefully this sort of spreads a bit of light on Spanish, and it's something I've done a fair bit of. Spent a bit of time out there sort of looking around and finding different areas for them, that sort of stuff. I found that as long as you've got fish in the area, it doesn't really matter too much as to where you are. They'll generally eat a stickbait or a popper, and it's good fun. So get out, give it a crack, hopefully catch some fish, and yeah, hopefully this shared a little bit of useful information. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Just been filtering down the Spanish. He's been eating leather jacket. That's wild. They're pretty fresh too, like there's the slices in them. Hectic, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't have expected that.
No, I didn't.
Wait.